Okay. Item number 10 is the recognition of the audience. The Board of Education welcomes the audience to make public or employee comments. The board has set aside time in the agenda specifically for this purpose. Pursuant to Board Policy 2.230, each speaker shall be limited to a 5-minute presentation. Please be aware that while this is the time for the public to express its opinions and or concerns, the board may or may not comment regarding public presentations. If a matter of public comment warrants discussion or action of the Board of Education, such discussion or action will be added to the agenda of a future meeting. Are there any public concerns? Are there any employee concerns?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please come forward, and Orland, you've done this before, so please state your name once you get up here.
Arlen Brown, Murphysboro High School, history government teacher, and citizen of the community, I would like to add. So I'm kind of addressing the board in both roles, if you will. I'm told that it's been almost 50 years since there's been a work stoppage in Murphysboro by the teachers. And it's a vague memory for just a few people probably, but the ones that I had talked to stated that although the work stoppage was short, repairing the relationships took years. And of course, all of us would like to avoid that, I'm sure. The state of Illinois recently emerged from a dark age of education. And I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about with things like short funding, waiting forever for checks to arrive, checks not being what they were promised. We all lived through that for 10 to 15 years, and it was a nightmare. An obstructionist governor was forced to recognize that the funding formula in the state was skewed the wrong way towards districts like ours, and that something had to be changed. Now we have a new administration in the state who are committed to funding education appropriately. We have a new funding formula that recognizes districts like ours need extra help, and we have significant new monies put into that those programs. Millions of new funding for high poverty districts. The checks now arrive on time. There's no waiting and wondering. We can plan ahead. And for the foreseeable future, that's what it looks like it's going to be. And I'd like for you all to realize who is responsible for this. And in a large part, I would have to say that it is public employee unions. It is teachers unions. It is your teachers who are responsible for this new reality in funding of education in the state of Illinois. Our teachers went to great lengths to contact legislators, to push our political connections to get something done. We testified in the General Assembly in hearings about education and the state of education in Southern Illinois. We did that. We demanded investment in the future of education. Now, over the period of 10 to 15 years, when we were scratching and clawing and negotiating contentious contracts for 1 year at a time, teachers' salaries and compensation were relatively flat compared to cost of living and inflation, relatively speaking. Now's the time to change that, and I would urge the board to recognize who is responsible for this new reality, and don't make the teachers beg. Don't make the teachers walk out to compel you to do the right thing. Do the right thing because this is the time to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any other employees? Yes, ma'am.
Am I in the right spot?
You're good. As long as you speak loud.
Okay, I'll do my best. My name is Becky McNeely. I teach 4th grade special education over at Crothers. I just wanted to say that it really breaks my heart to see the way that our community has been divided year after year after year. I've been in this district for upwards of 6 years now, and there has not been one negotiation that I can remember, either as a student teacher or now as a certified teacher employed in the district, that was handled respectfully. And I think the fault for this does lie on both sides. We are losing excellent educators year after year. You guys have heard some of the just snippets of the amazing things that our educators are doing in this district. And again, that's just scratching the surface. But we're losing excellent educators year after year simply because we do not have good benefits or competitive wages. We have had a $3.5 million surplus in general funds last year alone, and this is more than enough to provide our teachers with the pay raise that we have requested, a pay raise that we truly deserve. The district spent over $60,000 just between September of last year to July of this year alone to hire a lawyer to essentially fight with our teachers. What kind of message does this send to our community? What kind of message does this send to our kids? I don't know about you, but I can think of a million other ways that that money could have been spent. But I can think of a lot better ways that that money could have been spent to benefit our kids and our children. We all want to see our district succeed. We want to see this community thriving, but we can't get there if we continue to work in opposition. We can't get there if we continue to be disrespectful to one another. It takes everyone cooperating and working together, and I truly believe that it starts with learning to respect each other at a very basic level. Respecting each other's families, each other's thoughts, each other's feelings and concerns. I think it starts with not seeking our own interest, but rather looking to the best interests of others that have been placed in our care. We as teachers daily put the interests and needs of our students, some of whom are your very own children, above our own, and we are simply asking that you do the same in return. We are not asking for a raise because we want designer shoes or expensive cars. We have teachers that are struggling to make ends meet and provide well for their families. Just from my personal experience this last year, my son went the first several months of his life without insurance, simply because there was no way me and my husband could afford the district's plan and still have a roof over our heads. Nor could we afford state insurance. When push came to shove, my husband took on an additional part-time job just so that we could get insurance through that third party. That's just one personal example of from my experience. We have many, many other experiences to share about how the lack of care financially from our district has affected our families. We're not numbers on a page, we're families. I ask you to think, is this how you would want your son or daughter to be cared for by their employer? Again, I know that we have a long way to go on both sides of the table to reach a respectful, right relationship between our board and our teachers. I know that. But I truly believe that offering your teachers a fair, competitive contract is a great place to start. Let's put down our weapons, our bitterness, our anger, our preconceived notions, and let's begin working together towards a brighter and better future for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?